Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Hello, hello, hello. This is Knight with KnightCoreTCG. How are you guys doing? I am doing fantastic this wonderful morning. As we can see today, we are checking out the Snow Hazard and Clay Burst main set cards that now they've finally been revealed. As you can see, we're watching it on Poke Beach, which is pretty cool. I know other people like Poke Guardian, but I really like Poke Beach. But yeah, it looks like we're finally getting to see what every single card is in the set. The only cards that we know that are getting cut, as far as we know, are Annihilate and Chimpao and Tinkaton because they're getting Chimpao and Tinkaton are getting EX starter decks. I think that's what they're called. But yeah, our next set will end up being Paldea Evolved. We got some pretty nice pack art. It's weird that Chiampao's gonna be on the set pack, but you can't get the card. That's really weird. They got I don't know which one this is actually. I don't know the names of the Pokemon very well. The newer ones, I should say. I know every single older one. But Dragon types are coming back, which is cool. They won't have like the little slashes if you've seen before on like not the Sun and Moon, the Sword and Shield era when they brought back dragons. But they brought them back in the third set. Or I guess these are the second sets. No, these are the third sets. Triple B was the third set. But now we get to see the Snow Hazard one. We got to see a lot of pretty cards over here. Some of them we haven't seen before, which is pretty cool. Some busted cards that we're getting. Some of the alt arts that are pretty cool. I think they're called artist rare. I don't know what they're called in Japanese. But here is the clay burst ones, and we're gonna go ahead and check out the interesting ones that I've seen so far. These cards are really pretty, by the way. I know the Iono one is going to be one of the most sought after ones. I'm probably going to try to get a playset of those just for the value of it. But we have some interesting attackers here. We got Vespiquen that does for 1 grass, 120. Shuffle a bench combi and all cards attached to it into your deck. If you can't do this, you can't do the 120, which kind of sucks, but you know, that's just how it is. There's an Abomasnow that prevents healing, both you and your opponent. That's pretty interesting. Let's see, what else do we have here? Nothing over here was really interesting, except for this Serena. Because it has Queen's Heal for 60 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't be evolved by playing a card from your opponent's hand. So you can stop evolution. I don't know if this will be playable or not. Stage 3s have been seeing a lot of play recently, and it is 1 grass. So it could prevent things maybe like Lugia, Gardevoir, anything like that. Well, it's only the defending Pokemon, so it doesn't stop your opponent from like doing anything else. We got I think this is our first Bramblegast. Pretty nice card. It doesn't really do anything of notice. All it does is when you attack with it for 3 colorless, during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attack cost is 2 colorless more. So that's pretty cool. We got Relors here. I think those are the first ones that we're getting. I'm not sure we got any in the Scarlet and Violet set. And here's Wo-Chien. Wo-Chien's really good. So for 2 grass and a colorless, it has Devouring Ivy. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize your opponent has taken. So for every single one, it's 60. So first prize taken, 60. Second prize, 120. 3 prizes, 180, 240, and then up to 300 damage before you lose the game, you know. 230 HP, pretty good. It does have a high retreat cost at 4, which is pretty nutty, but the art's really nice for it. It's one of the, what's it called, the disasters or ruinous Pokemon, something like that. We got let's see, what else do we have here? We have a weird love disc that searches for 2 supporters. I think that's a really interesting card. There's an ice skew that if you discard all the energy attached to it, you have to, by the way. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 damage less, so it does 210, so that's not bad. We got a Sea Titan, Special Horn. As this Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, do 140 more damage. So it does 220 for like 2 water and a colorless, so that's not bad. That's 100% perfect for the one of the cards we'll see here later on. There's a Veluza with 130 HP, a water, and 3 colorless, and it does 120 damage. But if you don't have any cards on hand, you can use it for 1 water, which is not bad. We got our first Frigibax here. We got a 60 HP one, 60 HP, and a 70 HP one. They kind of messed up on the, the thing there. We got an Arctibax. I think we're only getting 1 Arctibax. The 90 HP, not bad, not bad. And then a Baxcalibur, pretty sick card. It has the same ability as, I believe, base set. What's his name? base set Blastoise did, where where you can deluge, or I guess in this case it's absolute zero, and as often as you like, you can attach a basic water energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So you can do that as much as you'd like. We got Chi-Pao. This is on our first Chi-Pao. His ability is Trembling Cold. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon has as your active Pokemon, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic water energy and then put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. But it has a two water attack where it's Hail Blizzard, 60 damage times. Discard any number of water energy from your Pokemon. And then for each one you discarded this way, you do 60 damage, which is pretty good. Because Baxcalibur, I'm pretty sure these two are meant to go together, which is really sick. Because like 60 by like what? All you need is 5 energy and you're like knocking out most things. And then if you have like a choice band, I guess you're knocking out a lot of Vs, a lot of Emaxes. EXs are going to require like 6 energy, which kind of sucks. But there's a card that we are getting, I believe, in this set, or it was last set. Super Energy Retrieval, which lets you grab 4 basic energy from your discard pile, which will help the deck a lot. And we have a Slowpoke here with an interesting attack. It says, flip a coin. If head, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. If tail, search your deck for a card and discard it. If you search your deck this way, shuffle your deck. I think that's a really interesting attack for a Slowpoke. You gotta either discard a card or like find a card, which is honestly pretty good. And we get a Slowking EX. I was actually really surprised to see this. It has Terrestrial, so that's pretty cool. It's got the terrestrialization going on and everything. So it prevents it from taking any damage while on the bench. Oh, we haven't seen anything different so far from Terrestrial. I'm hoping we see something cool. Like, I heard there's going to be a Dark Charizard soon in a set. That'll be really sick. Let's see what else we have here. For one Psychic, we have Profound Knowledge, 30 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. It's not the best. And then for 2 Psychic, Wisdom Headbutt, 130 damage. You may search your deck for up to any 2 cards and put them to your hand. That is a very interesting attack. It does 130, but the fact that there are cards like you can like pair this in a Gardevoir deck to, you know, set things up for like KO later, so then you don't have to put all your energy onto one Gardevoir and then try to KO with that. This sets up like bigger EXs and everything. I think so. 270 HP, it's huge. And it's not that hard for Gardevoir to find these kind of cards because there's so much draw. So maybe a 1/1 in the deck would be pretty interesting, because if you need any cards or you want to set up damage, it'd be pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as like, you know, Zacian V or anything like that from Celebrations. But yeah, and we got a Gothitelle here with the ability Astrology. Once during your turn, you may look for up to 2 cards on your deck. If you do, put one of those cards on top of your deck and the other one at the bottom of the deck. Honestly speaking, I don't know why you'd play this over, you know, Gardevoir. Since Gardevoir from, I don't even remember what set Gardevoir is from. Chilling Reign? I think she's from Chilling Reign. I'm not 100% sure. The Refinement Curlia and the Gardevoir, because they put energies, they draw you the cards, or they put the energies onto the Pokemon, which is pretty good. We got our Mimikyu. This is our first Pokemon that can block out EXs and Vs. So prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's EX and V Pokemon. And for a Psychic and a Colorless, you gotta put 7 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it goes through like almost every single effect you could possibly have. If you're going against Lost Box, this deck's useless, but like there are a lot of cards that still use, like, you know, that can still use this. It could be its own thing. I don't know how strong it'll be. We have a lot of single prize attackers that aren't EX or Vs, so who knows. We got a Poltegeist here, a very interesting Poltegeist, because for 1 Psychic, it puts up to 2 of any combination of tool cards and item cards from your discard pile to your hand. So there's a possibility this could be used as a control card, kind of like what's it called? Oranguru was. I know we do have a Floatzel that does the same thing, but I think it does 3 instead. So probably not the best. Maybe after it rotates, it'll probably be better. Now here's an interesting card, Rabsca. Rabsca is really cool. So for 1 colorless, it is a stage 1, evolves from Rellor. Choose Revival Blessing. Choose one of your Pokemon from your discard pile and put her onto the bench. It doesn't say basic. It doesn't say evolved. It doesn't say EX. It doesn't say non-rule blocks. It just says Pokemon. So this could be used in so many strategies to, like, do its own thing. That's kind of crazy if it's allowed to do whatever it wants. And then over here we got our first Annihilate EX, which is pretty sick. 320 HP, stage 2. It's a fighting type, Angry Grudge. You get to put 20 times damage, and then put up to 12 damage counters on this Pokemon. This attack does 20 times the number of damage counters you place this way. So it can do up to 240, but you are left with 80 HP afterwards, so I don't know how good this card's going to be. It does have a Fighting Colorless attack where it does 150, which is really good. So you can set things up for, like, maybe like 3, like you can do like 160 damage, like put 8 damage counters on it. You do 160 to, like, maybe like a Gardevoir or something, Gardevoir EX. It does seem like a bad deck against it, but hey, that it's a possibility of using it. Pseudo Widow, not very interesting. Let's see what else. Ooh, we got a Glimmet here. This 40 HP one with a Sanction. It search your deck and evolve this Pokemon on. And you just gotta evolve it for like 1 fighting energy. It does have 40 HP though, which is pretty bad. But honestly speaking, Ascension, go second, get your evolution, not bad. And Glamora, when this Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent can't take any price cards for it. That's kind of cool. It's a 50-50, but hey, they don't take any price cards for it. That's not bad. And the interesting thing is it's got a really cool attack for a single fighting energy, Floral Spite. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned during during Pokemon checkup. Put 6 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. So it'll be doing 120 in between turns. Like, first turn it'll do 60. If they don't retreat it or, like, get rid of the status condition, that's another 60, so 120. And you can put, what's it called? Sneasel, Radiant Hisuian Sneasel, to do, I think it adds 3 more damage counters or 4 more. I'm pretty sure it's 3. 3 more damage counters. So you're doing 90 damage between turns. Next turn it'll be 180. Third turn it'll be 270, and that sets up things for getting it knocked out. I don't know how good it'll be but the day we get like an EX Glamora, it will be really good, I hope, because I hope that Glamora is going to be amazing. They've been giving so many good Pokemon EXs that we usually don't get. So here's our first look at Murkrow. Murkrow has an interesting attack. A lot of bird Pokemon in the set have this. Wings of Union, 20 times damage. This attack does 20 times the number of cards in your discard pile that have Wings of Union. So if you have like 3 Murkrow with Wings of Union, they will do what? That's only like 60 damage, right? But if you keep adding on to it, it's kind of like Lost Box. The only unfortunate thing is that there are a lot of cards right now at discard. We only have, like, what, Professor's Research, Zinnia's Resolve, what's it called? Pokestop, Ultra Ball, stuff like that. We don't have much of anything else right now, so it's not too good. Its evolution is nothing to really write home about. There is an interesting Mabostiff if you want to make a meme deck out of it. Comeuppance. 20 for 2 colorless, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, put damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon. So if it does a ton of damage, it'll do a ton of damage back, basically. It's pretty simple. Now, there is an extremely interesting... The Bronzor is really cool because you draw cards and say you have the same number of cards as your opponent, which is pretty sick. But the Bronzong, I think it's kind of cool. So, the first attack isn't too amazing. It's just 20 damage. Prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. That, well, it could be really good against like Lost Box versus Sableye and all that stuff. It stops things like that, so I think it's pretty good for that. It takes 2 hits of Cram to just kill you, so, you're pretty good there. Now, Extrasensory for 2 metal, 70 damage, and then if you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, it does 90 more. So it does 160 for 2 energy, which doesn't seem that bad right now because we will have Judge and possibly Iono will help us as well doing that. So I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think it's pretty cool. We got a Corviknight here. If it knocks something out for 1 color, for 1 metal energy, with the 50 damage that it does with acceleration, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, under this Pokemon. So it's pretty cool. But for one metal and two colorless, 200 damage, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. That's pretty good. I wonder how good it'll be in like gym leader format. I don't. I want to get more into that. So some of these cards might be better for gym leader and Kufin. And we go into our first Copperajah EX. Copperajah EX has the ability Iron Body. And so it goes from a 300 HP Pokemon to a 330 HP Pokemon when there's not something blocking out its ability, like Path to the Peak. And it's got the attack Nose Quake for one colorless and two metal, 260 damage. This attack does 30 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. That's not bad. Say if you have another Copperajah in the bench, that's a total of what, 0 damage. The Bidoof from what's it called? I believe Crown Zenith prevents it from taking any damage. So you can do that and put it down and not do any damage to your Pokemon. I believe there are more cards later on that do more things like that, where if there's damage on your bench Pokemon, you do more. And our first Earthworm card, it has a beautiful altar, really really sick, and it has a nice ability. So nutritional iron. If this Pokemon has 3 or more energy attached to it, it gets 100 more HP. So it goes from 130 to 230. That means stuff like Cramorant is 4 hit knocking you out. It's not 2 hit. Well, I should say it's 3 hit. Yeah, my bad. It's 3 hit knocking you out because it has to do 330 damage to knock you out. And other cards like what's the name? Miraidon doesn't knock you out unless they have a Regieleki, then it does. But it has a really interesting attack for 4 colorless, so it can be used in a lot of decks. 4 colorless seems like a lot, but I think what they're trying to do is balance things out. It does 100 damage, so just 10 shy of killing a Cramorant. And this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so you can set something up to get KO'd later on, which is pretty cool. This could be really good in like gym leader format as well. Whoops, sorry about that. Hit the mic. And it can also be really good in like I believe the Magnezone decks. I've heard of Magnezone decks running around, which is really interesting. We got our first Dunsparce and Dunsparce. Sun and Flash. I don't think it's the first one, actually. I think we got a worse one in the triplet beat. 100 damage. Your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed, and you shuffle it back into the deck. I don't know how good this is because you have to keep evolving them. But I am really interested in this Pelipper. This Pelipper is kind of cool. So it is a stage 1, but I think it's our first colorless Pelipper ever. Its ability is Wind Letter. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may either search your deck for a supporter card and put it into your hand, or shuffle your deck and or put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. So it's like a mixture of what's the name of the Pokemon? It's a mixture of the I don't remember what the name was. Florges? No, it wasn't Florges. It was that 1V Pokemon that grabbed a card, that grabbed a supporter from the discard pile. I forget the name. Eldegoss V. Hey, there we go. Eldegoss V, or I guess Lumineon V, which we already have now. But this is 1 prize compared to 2, so it could be good for some decks. After Lumineon V rotates, it'll be really. I hope it'll be good. It's a really interesting card because it has those 2 effects. We got our first Slackoth line. Slacking, if it ever falls asleep, it has to flip 2 coins instead of 1. And if any of them is tails, you're asleep still. But for 3 colorless, it does 240 damage. It does put it to sleep. There is something to prevent it from doing that, though, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how good this will be, but 240 is a lot. 220 seems to be the 220, 230 seems to be like the threshold, or the sweet spot for most basic Vs, like Miraidon and stuff like that. Not Vs, my bad. EX. I keep saying Vs, and I keep forgetting EXs exist. It's still weird going back to that. And here is one of our, I guess you could call it the Dedenne replacement. Lively Draw, Squawkabilly EX, only 160 HP, so the same as Dedenne. On your first turn of the game, you may discard your hand and draw 6 cards. You can't use this ability more than once per turn. And it's only during your first turn. I don't know how good this will be because it's only during your first turn that you can use this. After that, it's useless. But there are cards like Collapse Stadium that can get rid of it. If your opponent plays an Avery, you can get rid of it with Avery. I don't know what else would get rid of it, honestly. But it has a really cool attack. Energy flow for one colorless. 20 damage, attack up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. So it's not completely useless. It can't go into the back like Dead Age Change or anything like that. But honestly, pretty good. Super Rod's back. You gotta get back any combination of 3 Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile to your deck. So that's not bad. That's actually really good. I guess they saw that Ordinary Rod was too powerful because Ordinary Rod made you choose one or the other or both together, which was 4 cards, which is a lot. But it did help evolution decks, so pretty good. Motivational Lemonade. You may only use this card if you have more prizes remaining than your opponent. It only heals 60 damage. I don't know how good this is. It doesn't even look that tasty in my opinion. But we got Grusha over here. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If you have no energy cards attached to your Pokemon, drop to 7 instead. So if you're going second, I guess this is technically like Lily. Lily kind of did this, but Lily it had no restrictions on it, so it's not as good. Lily did have the restriction that if you go first, you draw 8, but that's going first. And, that's when you go first. That's kind of it. And you most of the time had Lily. Sometimes you didn't, sometimes you did. But we got Giacomo here. Discard a special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. That is crazy. Honestly speaking, one of each. Like you're going against Mew VMAX, you're going against Lugia. You get rid of each of their special energies. That's insane. I think that's crazy. I don't know how good it will be. We'll have to see. But that's cool. And we got our stadium here, Snow Mountain of Disaster. Whenever any player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on it. So it's basically just Cemetery, but for water Pokemon instead, which is, I guess, okay. It's not the best thing in the world, but hey, it works, right? We got ourselves Reversal Energy. Reversal Energy is ridiculous. It makes a lot of these like evolution Pokemon way better. So you can only, when this attacks, it only provides 1 colorless energy. But if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, and this card is attached to an evolution Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, it provides 3 energy instead of any type. So it can be a mix of anything. This could be really good in like Dragon decks. This will be ridiculous in like Gym Leader format as a comeback card. That is so good. 3 energy. Like you're falling back as a Gardevoir player. Boom. Your Gardevoir has the 3 energy it needs to attack. You can still attach more energy to it with Gardevoir EX. That's honestly amazing. That is so good. This card is busted. And it makes evolution decks a lot better because they'll be playable at that point. I think that's just such a good card. And onto Clayburst. Here we go. We got ourselves Skip Bloom with the float away. If any damage were to take any damage, flip a coin. If heads, prevent it, which is pretty cool. And for 1 grass, 30 damage, and then it also does 30 damage to the bench. So not bad. It's okay. The same Jump Off is the same thing, like quite literally the same thing. It just does 30 more damage and 20 more health. I don't know why Jump Off cards had so little health. Look at that, 90 HP. That's so crazy. We got our Pineco and a Fortress EX. It's terrestrial as well, so you can't hit it on the bench. 270 HP. Not really mattering, but it has an amazing ability. Once per turn, during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. It doesn't have to be a grass Pokemon. It can be any Pokemon you have in play. And then you shuffle your deck, and then you knock out the Pokemon. Yeah, you lose 2 prizes, but the fact that you get set up something, let's say like a Wo-Chien. Wo-Chien's going to be really good with this. I'm pretty sure that I find it kind of weird that they separated them, but I get it. They can't have multiple EXs in a set of the same type, maybe? I don't know. It's weird to me. That's amazing in my opinion. That's so good. And then for 2 grass, it does 120 damage during your opponent's next turn to start at 30 less. So it technically has 300 damage. 300 health. But you're going to use it for the explosive energy. In all honesty, that is such a good attack. Not an attack, ability. That is such a good ability. Even if you're losing something, we've seen cards like this before in the past, like Electrode EX. Oh, cool, I lost things. Oh, whoa, look at this. Now I can use crazy stuff that helps my deck out. This could also help things out like decks that use, what's it called? The the energy, reversal energy. Is that what it's called? Reversal energy? Yeah, reversal energy. So, you know, it could be something insane. It could be something really good. We got a Heracross here. It doesn't really matter. We got a new Spite Ops line here. This one's different from the one from Scarlet and Violet. Two new Tarantula. Interesting that we're getting 4 Tarantula already or out the gate. We got Spite Ops, 110 HP. It has the entrainment attack. Each player shuffles their active Pokemon on all cards, attacks them to the deck. So you could like boss something up and like shuffle in a Mew, a Genesect, like an entire Gardevoir line. That's cool. You could put this in like your Spite Ops decks. It'll take a bit of like working on because it is 2 grass energy and grass doesn't have a lot of acceleration right now. In the future it will. With our boy here, Fortress, but I don't think you want a Fortress onto a card that you're shuffling back into the deck. We got ourselves a Numo line with a camera up with a cool attack, Eruption, a fire and a colorless, 50 damage, and then each player discards a top card of their deck. This attack does 100 more for each energy discarded this way. That's cool. 250 damage possibility. 150 damage for like 2 energy. It is evolved, so it has 140 HP, which is I don't know if that's low, because like you have stuff like what's it called? That one Dondozo. Dondozo's a basic with 160. You think they'd give like evolutions way more health, considering Dondozo has more health than even this stage 2 down here. Our Talonflame, clutch, 50 damage, can't retreat, but the Windrage, if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 90 more damage. So it goes from 70 to 160. For 1 energy, that's not too bad. I don't know how you're going to get the damage counters on it without it getting knocked out, because everything in the format does like 200 plus. I don't think there are many decks in the game right now that are like meta viable that don't do 200 plus damage. We got Chi-Yu EX. This card, I love Chi-Yu. It's a fire and dark goldfish. It's so cute. It's the Ruinous Fire, I guess. Burning Envy. Discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. If you want to use it in a discard deck with like White Trio, go ahead, but you do have to run multiple energy at that point. And then we got ourselves Flame Surge. For 100 for 2 not 2 colors. 2 fire, 100 damage. Choose up to 3 of your bench Pokemon. Search your deck and attach a basic fire energy to each of those. So you get 3 energy for the price of 2, which is actually pretty crazy. This can set things up in the future like Arcanine. I think Arcanine's going to be a really cool card in the future. I don't know if it'll still be good with Chi-Yu. I love Chi-Yu though. That is such a cool effect in my opinion. Set things up like Arcanine, because then you can move them over with Armarouge. You can move it all with Armarouge. Boost damage. Put card like Entei V, all that stuff. Crazy stuff. We got ourselves a Raichu. It charges itself, attaches 2 energy to itself, so that's not too bad from your deck, I believe. Yeah, but for 2 lightning and a colorless, you do 200 damage and then discard all the energy from it. If it did 220, I think it'd be better, but maybe that's a bit too much. We got our first Shinx line over here. Nothing too impressive on these two, but the luxury is really interesting. Once during your turn, if this card is in your hand and you have more prizes remaining than your opponent, you can play it onto your bench. I think this is the first stage 2 we've ever seen that can just be straight up played from the hand to the bench during your turn, and it doesn't have to be in your hand during the Pokemon the setup of the game. Like how Talonflame back in, I believe it was Breakpoint, I believe that's when it was using Greninja decks and stuff like that to set things up. It does have a pretty interesting attack. 1 lightning, 2 colorless, reversal energy, 100%. Look at that. Target for reversal energy. You're doing 180 damage right there. 180 damage. This does 20 for like 3 for lightning and 2 colorless. Again, reversal energy getting wonders with this. And if you attack, you get Defiance Band. That's 210. It doesn't knock anything relevant out. That has like 210 health. It does knock out, I guess, Raikou. That's not too bad. We got ourselves a Print Correction. It does for 1 lightning, flip a coin, 20 damage, and if you hit heads, you paralyze. Static Sizzle, 100 damage for 1, which is pretty good, but you have to use this attack in the prior turn, so not really worth it. We got ourselves our Tad Bulbs. One of them paralyzes, one of them just has slightly more health. That's kind of it, and does slightly more damage. But Belly Bolt EX, look at that. The main card, I guess, Was she the main? Was Belly Bolt the main of Iono? I know that Belly Bolt was shown a lot in like Iono's trailer and everything as like her main Pokemon, but it was the Miss Magius that terrestrialized that was like her like final Pokemon. So I don't know if that's her ace. But 280 HP for 2 colorless jump press. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's okay. Not the best. But for 2 lightning and a colorless paralyzed ball, 160, you may discard 2 lightning energy from this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. That's really good because it's 160 is like the sweet spot for 2-hit KOing almost any what's it called? Almost any EX and most VMAX, which is pretty sick, and you get a paralyzed. Now, discarding 2 kind of sucks, but you could use like the Flaffy engine, or you can use what's it called, Electric Generator to set it up again. This would seem pretty interesting in a Miraidon deck, but Miraidon has so many good options like Flying Pikachu. It has Flying Pikachu. It has Raikou V. It has Ampharos EX. So many good options. And then there's a Wigglytuff here that's pretty cool. Balloon Therapy. You can attach a therapy energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So it's acceleration. That's pretty interesting. Spiritomb, 60 HP, Psychic, crazy card. It lets you, as long as this Pokemon is in play, Basic V do not have abilities. Neither yours or your opponent's. So that's really good. It stops things like what's it called? Lumineon. I don't know what other basic Vs have good abilities that I can think of, because everything else is an EX. I wish it said EX, but I guess they only wanted to do this for Vs, which kind of sucks, because once EX Vs rotate, this is useless. Okay, so we got our Sandy Gas, Earthen, if it does one Psychic, 2 colorless, again, another target for that reversal energy, 80 damage, and then 80 more if you have a Stadium in play. Not too bad. We got ourselves a Ceruledge. Ooh, this is interesting. Again, another target for the reversal energy. To 1 Psychic, 2 colorless, 100 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX or V. It does 100 more, so 200 damage. Not bad. It's not knocking anything out that's like relevant outside of Raikou and like Swakabilly, maybe. I don't know. There's not too many cards. Lumineon V is, I guess, something. And our Tinkaton line. Here we go. We got our first EX of a Tinkaton. Let's see what the Tinkatinks do, though. This card's cool. Put an item card for 1 card. Put an item card from your discard pile into your hand. Not bad. The other one just does damage, and it discards an energy from your active Pokemon if you flip a coin and hit heads. This one does have more health, but this one I think will be more relevant just because of the fact that it's colorless, and it gets to pick up any item card from your trash. So if you're going second and you have nothing else and you played cards, you can just grab a card straight out of your hand. Straight out of your discard pile, put it back into your hand. And our Tinkaton EX. This is such an interesting card in my opinion, because I think it's going to be good, but I don't know how good. Humongous Hammer. This does for 2 colorless, does 30 damage. This attack does 30 damage times the number of cards in your hand. So if you have 5, 150. If you have 6, 180. It keeps going up and up and up. Unfortunately, there is a lot of Judge. We're going to have Iono in the same set going on, and a lot of other cards that could prevent you from doing that. You could get cards like B-Barrel that could help you. Automatically have yourself at 5 cards in your hand, so you're doing that minimum 150 to be at least pretty good. Or I guess you could play, what's it called? Well, this could actually be really good in a Gardevoir deck because you could set it up pretty fast and you're drawing so many cards. It could be. It could be good in a Gardevoir deck. For 1 Psychic and 2 colorless, Pulverizing Press, 140 damage, and it isn't affected by your opponent's active Pokemon. So this goes straight through things like that Mimikyu, or I don't know, it's just unaffected. It'll do 140 damage no matter what, unless you have like an item like Defiance Band or anything like that. We got ourselves a Larvitar line, nothing too important. Barboach. We have our discard card here with Whiscash, 1 fighting energy. For each fighting energy attached to this Pokemon, discard a top card of your opponent's deck. It's like that Centiskorch from, I think it was base set Scarlet and Violet, I'm pretty, not Scarlet Violet, Sorting Shield. We got a Toxicroak, does 60 damage and poison, not too bad, it's okay. Again, another reversal thing here. 2 fighting, 1 colorless, 160 HP, 170 damage, not bad. 2 hit KOing a lot of Pokemon. Passimian, not really worth it. It gets those 70 damage and moves an energy to one of your bench Pokemon. Here we go, the Knacklestein. The Knackley line. I really like Knackley. I put this in my team in the game. I love this thing. Garganical. I think it's so cool. Blessed Salt during your Pokemon checkup. Each of your Pokemon get healed 20 damage. So say if you have like 2 or 3 set up, which is it's a possibility. Gardevoir can do it, but that's Gardevoir. You know, that's a totally different topic. You could heal up to 60 per turn in between. So instead of having 180, you could end up having 240 health, I guess, technically. I don't know. For 2 fighting, Knock Hammer, and you discard do you 130 damage and discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Not too bad. I don't know how good this will be. It seems okay. It seems interesting in Gardevoir decks because you get to heal off all the damage counters you do. But I don't know how good it'll be. And here we go. Clayburst, main title card. The cover art. Ourselves, the Ting Lu EX. That's what it's called, Ting Lu. I don't know a lot of... I know Wo-Chin, Ting Lu, Cho... Let's see, I know Wo-Chin, Chi Yu, and Chimpao, but I don't know Ting Lu too well. I know it's annoying in BGC, but 240 health, that is massive for a basic. It does have 4 retreat cost, and it's fighting, but it's weak to grass, you know, because I believe it's a ground type in the game. Ability, Curse of Ground. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon with damage counters on them have no abilities, excluding EX Pokemon. And for 3 fighting, it does 150, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And it does damage counters, which is really good because that goes through Terrestrial and stuff like that, which is sick in my opinion. But 150, pretty decent hit. You can make it go up. You can use the Hawlucha from Scarlet and Violet base set to set up other Pokemon from being unable to use their abilities. So you could stop like Refinement Gardevoir, you can stop... It's only their bench Pokemon though, is it, right? Oh no, it's any Pokemon. Okay. So anything that's not an EX. So you can stop Vs, you can stop Lugia. Lugia is not going to be able to get through this thing if they're going to have to use a boss's order or something if you don't have if you don't have like just 1 on the active. That's honestly really good. I think this card's going to be amazing. How amazing though? I don't know. I really like it though. We got ourselves a Sneasel line. This ability is kind of sick. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to your active spot, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, basic Pokemon, to the active spot. So it is like a boss's orders on wheels. Now, it does have to evolve, but it only has 1 retreat cost. It seems really good in my opinion because you just gotta move it to the active and then use like switch cards, escape ropes, all that. I guess escape ropes would defeat the purpose at that point. Well, no, because you can escape rope, put this thing back up, and then like retreat it, and then attack. I don't know. It seems interesting. Tyranitar, 180 HP. We're starting to hit the 180s. I hope one day we hit the 220s or something like that. I think that's what we're gonna need to keep single prize basics. Sorry, single prize stage 2s to be good. Route 30 damage. This does 30 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You do up to 180. That's pretty good. Not bad for 1 dark. And then 2 dark. Dread Mountain, 230. But you do discard the top 4 cards of your deck, which really sucks. But not too bad. This could be... I think this would be amazing in like Gym Leader Challenge. Because it is really cheap to set up. We got ourselves our first Reveiw. A pretty cute card. Reveiw, Spit Poison, that's pretty good. Colorful Graffiti. And then you discard any number of basic energy from your hand, and then does 40 times the number of basic energy you discarded this way. So you can do a ton of damage with it if you have all the cards. Again, Judge Iono affecting this a lot. Let's see, we got a Bombardier, nothing too amazing. And our first dragons, we got ourselves Noibat. As I said before, they took off the slashy thingy there. 70 HP, and our Noivern here with 260 HP, stage 1. Noivern EX. For 2 colorless, Covert Flight, 70 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. That's pretty good. It completely blocks... Well, not completely. It doesn't completely stop... what's it called? Ah, man. Sableye. Sableye doesn't get stopped by this, but it gets stopped from, like, everything else. which is kind of crazy in a Lost Box deck. Lugia is going to have to start attacking this thing instead of having the Tyranitar's attack, so that's pretty good. Gardevoir doesn't care. Dominant Echo, 140 damage for a Psychic and Dark. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any special energy or stadium cards. I don't know how good this is. I feel like special energy lock isn't that good right now just because of the fact that, Lugia just says, hey, cool, I get to bring out two stage 2s that just grab it from my deck and I don't have to attach it from my hand. I think this second attack isn't as good. This first one, I could see like an entire, maybe a deck being built around it. It does a little bit too little damage, but it is colorless, so you can run it in technically any deck. We got our first Girafarig line, and as an interesting attack, either you or your opponent for one colorless, either face. That player shuffles their hand and draws until they have 4. That could be annoying. Like you can use this, or like maybe mail decks could use this. I don't know. Doesn't seem that good. We got ourselves a Tandem Mouse, a 30 HP and a 40 HP one, but Mouse Hold, interesting. For 3 colorless, again, that reversal energy could be really good. Not up. Put damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon equal to the number of Mouse Hold that you have in play. So if you have like 4 Mouse Hold, oh my goodness, that's crazy. Even if you get them knocked out, like think about it, you can play this with what's it called, Zoroark from Evolving Skies. That could be really good. Setting up you just keep doing 4 damage counters every single turn to your opponent. That's crazy. Flamigo here. This is going with our Wings of Union. It has a cool ability. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 Flamigo and put them into your hand. So if you search your deck, that's already 60 damage right there. And that's not bad. And this one does it for 2. It says dark here. Don't pay attention to that. It's obviously too colorless. It's not as good as the Murkrow. It does have more health, but honestly speaking, we have right now a lot of cards that will do a ton of damage. I should check if these guys have Wings of Union, because if they do, does the Fletchinder have Wings of Union? I didn't even check. I should check that out real quick before I continue here, because I'm pretty sure the Fletchinder does have Wings of Union. No, it does not. It does not. So there's only 2 cards I have seen so far that have Wings of Union, which isn't too bad. It only does like up to like what, 120 damage? No, like 120 damage or 270, I believe. No, not 270. That's way too much. Either 90 damage or 120. So it's not no, wait, sorry. It would be 120. Yeah, it would do up to maybe 140 damage, so not too bad. Delivery Drone. Flip 2 coins if both are heads. Search your deck for any 1 card. Kind of trash. Shroom of Courage. Tool. Attached to the Pokemon. This is a basic Pokemon that's attached to. Gets 50 more HP. So we got ourselves our cape back. Our Cape of Courage. I believe that's what it was called. I don't remember what it was called. But for any basic this time, so your Miraidons are going to go up to 270. Your other boys are going... Oh, Ting-Lu, 290 HP. That is insane. I think that's crazy. So many good uses on that. And then we got Saguaro. Heal 50 damage from the 2-year Pokemon. Not good. Iono, here she is. The queen of the game right now. She will be the savior, as a lot of people say. Each player shuffles their hand and puts it into the bottom of their deck. Then each player draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. So that's really good. We got N back in the form of Marnie. It's like they had a child, and there it is, a very cute girl. That's a streamer. We got ourselves our last 2 cards here. We got ourselves Wilderness Disaster. Oh, wait, are there more cards? Oh, wait, no. I think those are the comments. We got ourselves Wilderness Disaster. Retreat cost of each basic Pokemon except fighting is 1 colorless more. That could be useful in a Spidops deck, since we lost ourselves Galar Mine. We got Therapy Energy as long as this card is attached to Pokemon and provides 1 colorless. This Pokemon can't be put to sleep, confused, or paralyzed. Okay, so I think this card is better than most people think. I'm pretty sure people think this is a trash card because they're like, oh, we're going to need therapy for this. Because I think the comments say that, but I'm not going to show them because I don't want, I don't want those people's names out there because I didn't ask for permission, But I think this card could be really good in Lost Box if you're using Snorlax from, I believe it was I think it was Radiant, Astral Radiance or Brilliant Stars. No, I'm pretty sure it was later on. It's the Lost Origins one. That one. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from, because it requires 3 colorless energy, but you can use two of those. You can use 2 of those energy as basics with your Mirage Gate. You attach a therapy energy. That 180 damage that puts you to sleep afterwards no longer puts you to sleep. This could also work with that Slacking because it no longer goes to sleep. Again, I think this card is way better than a lot of people are like giving it for, I guess, are saying. I think it's amazing. Well, not amazing, but it works. But those are the cards. What are your favorite cards of the set? I know this video was pretty long. I do apologize about that. I was going through most of the cards and a lot of them interested me. But I thank you so much for those who watched. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this week's video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. If you would like to further support this series, join my Patreon in the description below. See you all next week, and keep that digital gate open.